All right, it is Wednesday, November 22nd. A Fox News alert breaking overnight. A U.S. Navy aircraft with nearly a dozen people on board down in the Pacific. The urgent search for survivors happening right now. We are live at the Pentagon.
David Cassidy dead at 67. How famous fans are paying tribute to the Partridge Family star.
We had a great call with President Putin. We're talking about peace in Syria, very important. We're talking about North Korea. We had a call that lasted almost an hour and a half.
And President Trump speaking with his Russian counterpart. Well, we just learned about the more than an hour-long phone call with Vladimir Putin. Fox and Friends First continues right now.
Thank you for joining us. This is Fox and Friends First. I'm Jeanine Mealy.
And I'm Rob Schmidt. Thanks for waking up with us today. We begin, though, with a Fox News alert and a desperate search and rescue operations underway right now after a U.S. Navy plane crashes into the Pacific Ocean with 11 passengers and crew members on board.
Lucas Tomlinson is live at the Pentagon with the breaking details. What do you know, Lucas?
Well, this is what we know right now, Julian. A Navy C-2 Greyhound, which is the Navy's premier cargo and passenger plane, crashed en route to USS Ronald Reagan, an aircraft carrier which was steaming southeast of Okinawa. The crash happened about 4 hours ago in the Philippine Sea, where Reagan was training with the Japanese military. Now, the Japanese military says about 8 people have been recovered, but their status is unknown at this time. Earlier this month, Reagan trained with 2 other aircraft carriers off the Korean Peninsula. It was the first time 3 aircraft carriers had trained together off the Korean Peninsula since the late 60s. Now, this accident is just the latest for the Japan-based 7th Fleet after 2 separate collisions at sea this summer involving the guided missile destroyers USS Fitzgerald and USS John S. McCain, which killed 17 sailors. Over the weekend, another destroyer bumped into a Japanese tug after that tug lost propulsion. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. And Jillian, this is just the latest setback for U.S. Navy aviation. Just a few weeks ago here on Capitol Hill, the head of Naval Aviation told Congress that half the Navy's fleet of F-18 Super Hornets, that's over 540 jets, cannot fly. Half the Navy's F-18 Super Hornets can't fly, and only 31% are airworthy. Back to you.
All right, Lucas, I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more information as the hours go on this morning.
That's bad news with all the potential conflicts in the world right now, too. Lucas, thank you.
Yeah. President Trump vowing to do his part to bring peace to the Middle East following an hour-long phone call with Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, this on the heels of a high-profile meeting between Putin and Syrian president and friend of his, Bashar al-Assad. Griff Jenkins live at our nation's capital with brand new details on some very high-stakes conversations here. Griff.
Indeed, Rob and Jillian, good morning. Heading off to Mar-a-Lago, President Trump said that call was a great one, and they discussed not only Syria, but also North Korea and Ukraine.
We had a great call with President Putin. We're talking about peace in Syria, very important. We're talking about North Korea. We had a call that lasted almost an hour and a half. We just put out a release on the call, but we're talking very strongly about bringing peace to Syria. We're talking very strongly about North Korea and Ukraine.
The call comes a day after Putin met with Syria's President Bashar Assad seeking a political settlement in Syria's civil war, a situation CIA analyst Fred Flight says is benefited by President Trump's dialogue.
We need some creative diplomacy to try to find a way to stabilize the situation. I got to tell you, I don't want to see it on the terms of Iran and Russia, but still dialogue between President Trump and President Putin on this is still a good thing.
And this call further reflects the president's desire to thaw relations with Moscow, a point he made clear on his trip to Asia and back on the campaign trail.
I think it's very important to get along with Russia. I feel that having Russia in a friendly posture as opposed to always fighting with them is an asset.
I hope that we get along great with Putin, because it would be great to have Russia with a good relationship.
Now, the focus of the call also increasing international pressure on North Korea. We'll find out if that produces anything, as President Putin is set for a trilateral summit with Iran and Turkey this week, guys.
All right, Griff Jenkins live for us in Washington, D.C. Have a good Thanksgiving, Griff.
You too.
All right, allegations of Russian collusion have been a favorite talking point for critics of the Trump administration. But despite the onslaught of media attention on this, the president still talks openly about trying to improve diplomatic ties with Vladimir Putin.
And Charles Hurt, opinion editor at the Washington Times, says that attitude is exactly what put him in the White House.
The guy is completely fearless. He doesn't care what the media is saying. He is he's always confident in his ability to make an argument and win an argument, and that's what he's doing here. And the other thing, Martha, that I would point out is the fact that both Democrats and Republicans have so many of similar approaches when it comes to things overseas, like how to deal with Russia. This guy comes at this with a completely fresh set of eyes, and he's willing to sort of turn everything upside down and try it a different way. And quite frankly, I think that's how come he won the election.
Tragic news overnight. Teen Idol and Partridge Family star David Cassidy has died. Cassidy passing away in a Florida hospital of organ failure. He rose to stardom in the 70s, launching a career lasting 5 decades. Entertainers are flooding social media this morning. Singer Marie Osmond tweeting in part, quote, heartbroken over the passing of David Cassidy. And actress Marlee Matlin saying in part, to me and millions of us, you were forever young. Cassidy was 67 years old.
All right, well, the family of one of the victims of the most recent terror attack in New York City are planning to sue the city. The parents of Darren Drake say officials failed to recognize that cars and trucks had easy access to the bike path on the West Side Highway where their son and 7 others were killed by terrorist Sayfullo Saipov. The announcement comes hours after Saipov was charged with 22 counts, including terrorism, murder, and attempted murder. And also, big changes could be coming to the Las Vegas Strip after the deadly mass shooting that killed 58 concert goers there, a different terror attack. Lawmakers and the police commissioner asking the city to ban private cars from driving down the Strip to help get first responders to the scene of an emergency faster. Steel posts have also already been installed along the Strip to help keep pedestrians safe from potential vehicle ramming attacks up on the sidewalk.
Charlie Rose is out of a job. CBS News, PBS, and Bloomberg TV firing the anchor over sexual harassment allegations. The Washington Post reporting dozens of women have accused Rose of unwanted sexual advances, lewd phone calls, and groping. The veteran journalist denies any wrongdoing. CBS this morning now needs an anchor to take Rose's spot, and apparently Oprah Winfrey is at the top of the list. Now, that's according to Page 6, who says the network is begging Gayle King's best friend to at least fill in until Christmas. See what happens.
President Trump keeping with tradition, pardoning his first Thanksgiving turkeys.
He also upheld another tradition, cracking jokes during the ceremony.
As many of you know, I have been very active in overturning a number of executive actions by my predecessor. However, I have been informed by the White House counsel's office that Tater and Tot's pardons cannot, under any circumstances, be revoked.
Trump's pardoned birds, Drumstick and Wishbone, will join Tater and Tot to live out their days at Gobbler's Rest on the Virginia Tech University campus. So they have friends now, lots of friends.
It's a big party.
All right, bringing politics into the conversation at this year's Thanksgiving dinner could be a recipe for disaster.
That was a good show, wasn't it? Jackie Ibanez joins us now with more on whether most Americans are opting to pass the turkey without the politics. We hope so, Jackie.
Yeah, no, that is a great show. It was a great show, and we'll see how it goes this year. This year has no shortage of highly charged political stories, that's for sure. But should they be off the menu at your family's Thanksgiving dinner? According to a new NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll, 58% of Americans dread the thought of talking about politics during Thanksgiving dinner. That's compared to 31% who say they are eager to talk about politics there at the table and stir the pot a little bit. So what major political stories may come up when gathering with your friends and family this year? Well, here are some of the most heated issues that we've covered here this year on Fox and Friends First. The investigation into Trump campaign and Russia collusion could definitely come up. That's a big one. Let's not forget the series of bombshell claims by former interim DNC chair Donna Brazile shelled out in her book Hacks.
I wanted to write this book to tell my story. I wanted the American people to see what happened. The book it tells some hard truths because, as you well know, I'm not just any Democratic operative. I'm an activist.
Yeah, that's a big story. And what about President Trump's push to build a wall to protect and secure our southern border with Mexico?
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
On the other hand, GQ magazine suggesting it is your civic duty to ruin your family's Thanksgiving by bringing up President Trump's quote for America. It's your civic duty to ruin Thanksgiving. Okay, but for those looking to just enjoy their turkey dinner, there are plenty of survival guides online for this year's holiday with tips and tricks on how to get through your political topics.
I'll give you another one that I think causes a lot of controversy is Colin Kaepernick and the national anthem protests. And especially since Thanksgiving is a big day where people are watching football.
A lot of people saying they're watching college football this year.
Okay.
Not NFL.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the number one issue that you want to avoid or maybe bring to the table this Thanksgiving? If you like to stir the pot and mess up Thanksgiving, let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're going to share some of your responses later on in the show. I have a very politically divided family, so I'm happy to be missing Thanksgiving. It makes it a little bit easier.
Oh, that's so sad. Jeez. All right. It is 10 minutes after the hour. The internet, as we know it, could soon be history. How the FCC is planning on restoring online freedom.
Kill the bill. Kill the bill. Kill the bill. Kill the bill.
Democrats making sure to obstruct tax reform at every turn. But what do voters think about the plans that the Senate has and the House has already passed? Lee Carter has the dials. Those are coming up next.
And if you're like me, Christmas decorations are going up earlier and earlier each year. The brand new study that says that may not be such a bad thing. Don't go anywhere. Good morning and welcome back. Tough talk between the president and key Democrats as the battle for tax reform now heads to the Senate. So what do the American people think? Lee Carter is a pollster and partner with Ms. Lansky and Partners, and she just put the dials to the test. Thanks for joining us this morning. Great to be here. All right. So one of the big things is, President Trump on the tax bill. He's been adamant about getting this done. The American people, I think, want to see him get this done. Let's take a listen to what President Trump has to say about getting this done before Christmas.
I want to congratulate the House of Representatives for passing a vital and historic tax cut last week, and I'm very hopeful the Senate will do the same very soon. We're going to give the American people a huge tax cut for Christmas. Hopefully that will be a great, big, beautiful Christmas present. With the Democrats giving us no votes for tax cuts for purely political reasons, obstructionists, it will be up to the Republicans to come through for America. I think they will. I hope they will. It's up to the Senate.
Great, beautiful Christmas present. Do the people agree?
Look, you can see Republicans do. They gave it an A, independents a C, and Democrats an F. What I thought was really interesting in talking to those independents was not that they necessarily didn't want this to get done. It was that they're starting to get confused about who's really going to benefit, because we've got the Republican messaging, which is really solid and strong, saying this is going to be a middle-class, pro-growth, jobs, tax plan, something that they really, really want. On the other side, Democrats are saying, no, it's going to benefit the wealthy. It's actually not going to benefit you middle class. And so people are confused out there about what's really in the bill, and they're not sure that anybody is going to be able to come together and get it done. And so that's why the independents reacted the way they did.
Quite a difference there. And it seems to be the theme on all of our topics today. Let's go to the next one, and let's hear what Nancy Pelosi has to say about killing the bill.
They throw a scrap to the middle class, provide a banquet for the wealthy and for corporate America, transform America. In doing so, we will not let that happen. Kill the bill.
All right, who's buying this, who's not?
Well, you can see Republicans aren't buying it at all. They gave it an F. Independents a C-, and Democrats only a B. Again, these independents are saying, I don't know who to believe or who to trust. And so really they're saying, I don't know who's going to benefit. Is it going to be the middle class? Is it not? Not sure who to buy. And so I think that it's not necessarily a Democrat or Republican issue here. People are saying, just explain it to me and tell me like it is, and don't just be so partisan about it.
And it's interesting that Democrats gave it a B.
That's right. It wasn't as high. A lot of people are tired of the obstructionism.
Absolutely. Okay, so Hillary Clinton made comments the other day about President Trump being obsessed with her. Take a listen to that.
Apparently, you know, my former opponent is obsessed with my speaking out. Apparently there was another, somebody told me, tweet today. Honestly, between tweeting and golfing, how does he get anything done? I don't understand it. So maybe that's the whole point.
We got those dials all the way across the board on this one.
You sure did. You can see Democrats gave it a B, Independents a D, Republicans an F. And what we saw is Democrats agree with it, Republicans and Independents say enough is enough already. There's so many issues that they want to hear us talking about it. This isn't one of them.
You know, you're right. Independents do seem very confused with all of these topics. All right, let's go to the last one here. And Jeff Flake was caught on a hot mic. Listen to this.
Come the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump.
Well,
we are the toast.
And I'm not throwing smoke at you, but you're the guy that could, just for fun, think how much fun it would be just to be the foil, you know, and to point out what an idiot this guy is.
Okay.
So this across the board, you could see the dials are pretty flat, but what people told us was across the board, this is a fail. This is the swamp. This is not what people want to hear. Even if this is something that they believe, it's not something they should be talking about. It just didn't benefit anybody.
Well, it's nice to see everybody agreeing on something.
Yeah, exactly right. For once, let's be thankful for that.
Yes, Lee Carter, thank you very much for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving
to you. Good holiday. All right, it is 19 minutes after the hour. After weeks of fans burning jerseys and ticket sales slumping, could the NFL finally be making a change to its national anthem policy? Carly Shimkiss is here with the possible game changer.
All right, after many weeks of slumping sales and viewership, a possible game changer to the NFL anthem policy, the league owners have a new proposal to keep the players in the locker room.
Is that really the solution? Social media says not so much. Carly Shimkiss with Fox News headlines, 24/7, Sirius XM 115. Here with the online reaction. It just seems like that's a Band-Aid.
You know what? That's right. Let's just say that while they're trying to fix the problem here, this idea really could cause more controversy for the NFL. According to the Washington Post, some NFL owners are considering keeping teams in the locker room during the national anthem next season. Sources told the Post that if players continue to kneel throughout this year, they would consider that policy change. You know social media is going to be talking about this one. Mike on Twitter says the NFL leadership is pathetic. Deborah tweeted, yeah, they'll pay and allow unpatriotic millionaire athletes continue to make millions for NFL and themselves. Sadly, not what patriotic football fans want to be a part of in America. Another tweet says, what an embarrassment. If it came to that, it's shameful that owners have not been able to educate players on the significance of the flag and the anthem. So there you have it. I agree with you, Jillian. I think this would cause much more controversy than what we have already right now.
Yeah, you're basically just shutting the door on it and making it go away, but it's not actually solving the problem.
We are seeing fewer players protesting throughout the season, so I guess that's, you know, a good sign.
Right. Okay, what's new with Hillary Clinton?
All right, well, Hillary Clinton's What Happened book was just named Time Magazine's #1 nonfiction book of the year. Hillary Clinton tweeted about it saying, wow, I wasn't sure how letting my guard down would go, but it's been cathartic and rewarding. I loved writing this book, and I'm honored to be in such great company on this list. You know, social media, of course, chiming in on this one as well. Olivia says, this year on Thanksgiving, we as a nation can be thankful that Hillary is not president. Another tweet says, I consider the Hillary Clinton book to be historical fiction. Yikes. So a different list. But you know what? She didn't win the presidency, so we'll give her this. Right?
Maybe if she had let her guard down during the election, she would have been more relatable to the American people.
True.
It's a thought.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about cops and dogs working out together.
This is adorable. Just check out this video. I mean, look at this. This is an Alabama Police Department. These are two officers for the Gulf Shores PD and their K9 Nitro. They are very in sync. I guess they have to be, you know, working as a team together, fighting crime.
That is the cutest video
Isn't
I've
that
ever seen.
adorable? All dog lovers out there. Everybody's going to love that one.
Gulf Shores, Alabama.
There you go.
I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Love it. Thanks, Carly.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, well, millions of Americans apparently are accused every year of putting up their Christmas decorations too early.
All right, so now one psychologist claims putting up your decorations early makes you happier because it can remind you of your childhood. It can also make you appear friendlier to your neighbors. That's why I'm always so happy, Rob.
So if you leave them up all year, are you just happy all year? Is that how it works? We asked you on Facebook if you put up Christmas decorations early. 57% say yes. I guess early would be before Thanksgiving. Is that the general consensus we have here? 43% say no.
And I'll tell you what, those no's, they're pretty adamant about not putting up your Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving. It is one holiday at a time.
And they get mad about it. Yeah, all right.
Tell us what you think. Yeah. Anyway, it is 26 minutes after the hour. Millions of Uber riders hacked, and now we know the company tried to cover it all up.
And new proof, PC Police is getting in the way of the real police. Our next guest is an NYPD sergeant here to explain how officers in New York City are getting stuck behind a stack of paperwork instead of working the streets.
The great holiday escape is on. More people than ever hitting the road, the rails, and the skies this Thanksgiving. We are live at the airport. Stay there. Welcome back. We are back with a Fox News alert. The 8 people recovered from the Navy plane crash in the Pacific overnight are in good condition. The Navy says they are being treated right now on the USS Ronald Reagan after being found by Japanese forces. The desperate hunt for the other 3 intensifying right now. The C-2 Greyhound aircraft they were in crashed in the Philippine Sea with 11 passengers and crew on board. They're part of the Navy's Japan-based 7th Fleet. The plane was taking part in an ongoing joint U.S.-Japan naval exercise in water surrounding Okinawa. The 7th Fleet has had 2 fatal accidents in Asian waters just this year, involving the USS Fitzgerald and the USS John McCain, leaving 17 sailors dead and prompting the removal of 8 top Navy officers from their posts. We will keep you updated. The hunt for whoever brutally murdered a Border Patrol agent intensifying. The FBI treating officer Roger Martinez's death as a potential assault. Union reps with the National Border Patrol Council say Martinez and another unidentified agent were viciously attacked with rocks. The agent who survived claims he cannot remember what happened. The feds offering a $25,000 reward for anyone with information to help close this case. The FBI investigating Democrat Bob Brady for allegedly paying an opponent to drop out of a 2012 primary race. Jimmy Moore accused of ending his campaign after receiving $90,000 from the Pennsylvania representative's campaign. Moore and a former aide have already pleaded guilty to concealing the payment. Brady has not been charged with a crime. The crowd of Democratic hopefuls looking to challenge President Trump in 2020 appears to be growing by the day. Former Democratic National Committee interim chair Donna Brazile predicting there will be at least 25 contenders.
If they have fresh ideas, if they can reinvigorate our democracy, they should run. And Hillary, if she wants to run again, Elizabeth Warren, if she wants to give it a try, run. We, as a country and as a party, I think we can afford to have as many voices on the stage as possible.
Already, at least 10 people, including Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, have been rumored to run in 2020. Rob?
All right, Jillian, thanks. New York City police forced to reform their controversial stop and frisk practice. But even after a massive overhaul, the man tasked with implementing these reforms can't help but uncover the blatant confusion of this reform effort. And trying to change this has been very confusing. Court-appointed monitor Peter Zimroth writing in a memo, officers have said the law is confusing. I don't know what's expected of me anymore. With the environment that we are in now, it's not worth stopping anyone because the department won't have our backs. Here now to react is one of New York City's finest and the founder of Blue Lives Matter NYC, an organization that we love, Joseph Imperatrice. Thank you, sir, so much for coming on this morning. This is a very complicated topic because you've got, there's arguments on all sides of this saying that, stop and frisk was overused. But to you guys, this is a critical way of keeping the streets of New York City safe, a city that has gone through some very tough times and has become a lot safer safer thanks to methods like this, right?
Stop and frisk is a great tool when done properly. The thing is, when Mayor de Blasio ran the first time, the entire thing of his campaign was that we're going to end stop, question, and frisk. And you can't do that because it's part of an officer's tool belt. And what he did is he had these people come in, and they had no experience whatsoever, and they overcomplicated it. Now officers don't know what they're doing, how to do it. They're afraid they're going to be in the paper the next day. And to be honest with you, it's one of those things when you're out there to get the guns off the street. Now there's this whole Right to Know Act. Now the thing with the speakers, the possible speakers in the future are saying, so you just shot and killed somebody at a bodega. Now I'm going to stop you lawfully.
And let me stop you there real quick because I want people to understand this. There's 5 new council members that just came in this latest election, and they're pushing for this Right to Know Act, which is taking a very liberal policy like removing stop and frisk, taking it even further to make the job of police officers even harder to do and more complicated, and making it easier for criminals to commit crimes, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Is that your take? That's the Right to Know Act.
100%. So now I'm going to stop the person. Now they want me to tell you why I'm stopping you and ask if it's okay to search you or frisk you. Now, after you just killed somebody, you're trying to get away from me. So now that leaves the officer out there. It's irresponsible. And now it's going to hurt more cops because now he's going to take out his gun, shoot right away because he doesn't know why I'm stopping. Now, on the flip side, say I stop you and you're not the person. I tell you, listen, sir, I'm very, very sorry. Here's a card now with all my information on the back. You can make a complaint against me.
Sure.
He's going to go around the corner after being happy with how I treated him respectfully, and his friends are going to say, make a complaint against him. Say that he beat you up and cursed you and did all this stuff. And now 3 months later, I get a complaint. And after several of them, which are most of them are bogus, I can lose overtime, get thrown out of my detail, work day tours. This is why officers aren't going out there and doing their job, because they're afraid.
And the people that are trying to implement these policies, as you've stated, these are not people that have ever worked in law enforcement. They don't understand the need. They're thinking about one thing, their voter base, most likely, and trying to push a message that they think wins for them. But at risk is the safety of the greatest city in this country.
New York City, if I were mayor, the number one thing would be the safety of New Yorkers, and after that, everything else falls into place. You can't take tools away from officers that are going to make everybody safe, and the problem is with these politicians is they're going out there and playing the politics. They're not telling people the truth, and people are misinformed.
And it's worth noting that de Blasio is not seen as a very pro-cop mayor, but even he, to this Right to Know Act, so anybody that lives in New York, when we're talking about this Right to Know Act that they're trying to push through right now, even he has said he would probably veto this because it would be his demise. If this city is rampant with crime again, like it was in the 80s back during the crack days, we got a real problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, him vetoing something, especially in regards to police, that speaks volumes if he's against it.
If he's against it, it does speak volumes. Sir, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for keeping us safe. We do appreciate it.
Take care.
Jillian, over to you.
All right, if you at home, if you're like millions of people getting ready to travel for the Thanksgiving holiday, I'm sure all eyes right now are on the forecast. So let's go to Adam Klotz. You're the man of the hour. Tell us what's going on.
You know, you really couldn't ask for a better forecast from sea to sea. There are a couple trouble areas, particularly, and this has been the case for the last 24 hours, rounds of heavy rain moving across the Pacific Northwest. That, unfortunately, is going to be continuing as you head into your Thanksgiving holiday. In some areas, from Portland stretching up to Seattle, maybe an additional 4 to 6 inches of rain may cause some standing water on roadways in those areas, something to be concerned about. Otherwise, though, we've got a system moving off the mid-Atlantic, so that is going to be clear just in time for Thanksgiving. And you're looking at mostly green lights there if you're taking off to fly today, which means I'm not expecting a whole lot in the way of travel delays here into the rest of the Thanksgiving holiday, guys.
All right, Adam, thank you so much. Okay, a shocking new report affecting millions of people, how your bank information might have ended up in the hands of an ex-con.
And Flag Fury, the disturbing reaction to an ISIS flag, and it's waved on one of the country's most liberal campuses. The social media experiment, a social experiment that'll get you fired up.
Plus, the article is frankly disgusting. Newsweek comparing President Trump to the late Charles Manson.
This is really a low blow, Heather, even for the left-wing media, to suggest that the President of the United States is somehow equivalent to someone who's convicted of murder.
Well, the ridiculous comparison coming up. Stay tuned.